You know what I think hurts the most about my whole situation is that I'm self-aware about it. I know exactly what happened to me, and because of that, I know that I can never bring back the time that I lost. And I know that the self-awareness is part of this. I know that it's because, I didn't have any grown-ups when I was a kid. I didn't have anyone making me feel safe, so I had to always make myself feel safe. But when you put that on a kid, their version of make myself feel safe looks more like, let me hyperanalyze every single person around me. And that's why I never take any action. That's why I still can't live my life. It's like I died. Like, I didn't really die, I'm still here, but it's like I metaphorically died. I've never been happy for more than like a few hours at most. And I wish I could know what it feels like to be happy forever. And real happy, not happy whilst thinking about all the bad and all the disgusting and all the horrible things that I went through, and or having to think about, oh, you're so resilient, because that also kind of fucking sucks. It's like, I don't know how to feel better, and I'm so exhausted with trying to feel better, because I know what I'm doing. I know that I'm just distracting myself all of the time from the truth, but because I'm so aware of what the truth is, there comes a point where you can't distract yourself. And I think I've pretty much hit it. Nothing I do really makes me happy anymore. I mean, I love animating. That's maybe one thing, but I like animating because when I animate, it is my truth, And I don't know. I mean, a little part of me is still going through it. I'm at a college I hate, and my parents aren't together, and my dad has always been shitty, and I'm starting to realize that he's always been shitty, and that I basically lost out on, 16 years because the adults in my life just didn't want to be grown-ups. Now I have to be my own grown-up all of the time, forever. I've always had to do that. My own parent, my own teacher, my own lawyer, my own doctor. The only person who's ever cared about me is me. And that sucks. Because I can never bring my childhood back or my adolescence back. And because I'm always so self-aware, I always have to think about that. People will say, oh, you're so resilient, you're so brave, but I don't want to be resilient and brave. I don't care that you wouldn't have been able to get through this. I also wasn't, but... And it's not some victory, okay? I didn't want to throw myself in a fire. But you did. Right, Dad? My dad looked at what happened to me and he called that character building. And it was terrible and I hated it because as a child I thought my dad loved me. I used to think my mom was the strict one and my dad was the chill one, but now that I'm older I know that my dad was just checked out and he thought that that was parenting. And the worst part of all of this is that everyone cares about the abuser more than the abused, right? Everyone wants to know about the psychology of, oh, what was the abuser thinking, They always get more attention. And I wish I acted out. And I did. You know what? I did so many times. I begged and cried for help. It was literally horrible. I'm probably gonna get hated on for saying this, but when I was in year 7, I remember, I would okay, take this with some salt because I don't think I actually hurt anyone, but I would kind of, in probably the biggest air quotes you've ever seen, physically hurt guys in my year. just unprovoked. I was in year 7, and I think that was the first time I actually snapped. But none of the teachers actually looked at it as like a problem sign. They just got me in trouble. They got the guys in trouble too, but they also got me in trouble. I remember telling my mom about this like semi-recently, like a few weeks ago, and she said that she was proud of me because I showed a real human emotion besides happy. And I asked if she would have been proud of me then, because she asked me why I didn't tell her then, and she said, you know what, I probably wouldn't have, because she was too busy suffering my dad's emotional abuse. The only time my dad actually stood up for me, and even this stood up is like barely anything, but I was in year 10 or so, I want to say, and year 10, and I injured my ankle. I was running and I got a sprain, and it was like a really bad sprain, like my foot was sideways. I'm so sorry for that visual, but my dad like put it in a brace. There's more to this, and so like he put it in an ankle brace, and I got crutches from the school nurse, and my mom also emailed my teacher and said like, hey, she can't participate today in PE, whatever. He didn't listen to that. In fact, he didn't even bother to open her email, and he made me participate. You would think it's not such a big deal. He even let me sit out for the last 2 minutes, right? But it was a big deal, because after that class, I went from being able to move my foot a little bit to not being able to move my foot at all, and it being stuck sideways with complete pain if I moved it. Yeah, in the middle of class, the head of year pulled me out and said I should probably go to a doctor. So I called home. My helper picked me up, and she said to put it straight the entire way home because it was so easy. Anyway, my mom and I went to the doctor later, and they said that because of that extra activity, I did tell them about it. They said because of it, I'd actually torn 90% of my ligaments. Only after that did my dad send an email to that teacher, a stern email. The one thing that he's ever done to protect me was a stern email. That teacher still works there. He didn't get fired. He didn't get any threats. He didn't get any sort of comeuppance or punishment or anything. He got to keep his job. So yeah, I did act out. I tried to beg people for attention, but hey, I'm getting hurt. Can you guys actually fucking do your jobs? Like, oh, I don't know, protect the child and not hurt the child? But they didn't care. It happened in year 5 when I hated myself, and I didn't really know what self-harm was, but I would go down to the like courtyard area, I guess, and like bite my arm every break time. And I wrote that down on a piece of paper once for a stupid, year 5 circle time activity or whatever the fuck. Everyone cringed at me, including the teacher. Yeah. But then you're also not supposed to, like, pity yourself. And I mean, this isn't everything. There's more. But if I tell you everything, we're going to be here all day. And, I mean, you're also not supposed to pity yourself because then you're attention seeking. But I needed the attention. And now I'm a grown-up who, I don't know. I mean, I feel like my ideal for happiness is like if I got to restart my life from a baby with like maybe different parents and a different environment and honestly different everything. Because if a plant doesn't grow, then you don't blame the plant. You blame the soil you potted it in. Or you blame the fact that you ignored it for a week and didn't water it or give it any sunlight or give it any, like, plant food. I mean, okay, photosynthesis, whatever. But, yeah. And what else hurts the most is that, you know, now I'm a 20-year-old, I'm in therapy, and I'm the one who's supposed to fix my broken soul. I don't know how to do it. I don't know if I can even fix it. And even if I do fix it, it's like a vase, right? If you break it, you can use glue or tape, or it's never going to be the same or what it was meant to be. And you know that. You're, like, painfully aware that you're the one fixing your own problems and still also going through problems. And, like, a little part of me wishes I wasn't so self-aware, but I know I'm self-aware because it protected me for a very long time. Like, I used to think that people were temporary, and now I think experiences are temporary. Like, anything that makes me happy, I immediately have to turn it to, oh, well, this will end, you know? Like, I don't know. And I'm hyper-aware of that, so great. I think I'm losing my adulthood, too. I genuinely wish I knew what better looked like, but nobody gives a shit about depression, right? I mean, they always have their typical script of caring about you until they can't care about you anymore because their own life gets in the way, and if you keep being depressed, which they think is a choice, you know, that's it, right? The world moves on without you. But if you get up, and if things get better, everyone calls you resilient. Even if things still suck, people call you resilient. And it's like, wow, thanks. It's not really a compliment. You know, I mean, I hate that. I hate when people do that to me because it's like, so you straight up abused a child for like a whole fucking decade and you're gonna say that it was good? My father's gonna call it character development. My own father who yells at me, and I mean, I literally had to convince him to go to therapy. I had to be the one to convince him to do that when he's literally the source of our problems. And you know, he can be as sorry as he wants, which he's still not, but one day if he ever is, even then, it doesn't bring me what I want. People used to tell me that I was unlovable, that I couldn't be loved and I couldn't love anyone. And a little part of me thinks, you know what, maybe you were right. Not because I actually can't love anyone, but because I don't know what it actually looks like. What does it look like without any transactional viewpoint, you know? Even with the transaction. I mean, come on. I was in crutches, and those crutches were getting kicked down every single day because some bitch spread a rumor that my injury wasn't real. I was in a cast. I can't imagine that helped my recovery. Yeah, by the time I had gotten to like year 10, year 11, I realized I was no longer safe. I wasn't safe at school. I wasn't safe at home. I wasn't safe anywhere. And I want justice, but I am just also, like, at the same time exhausted. Like, why am I still doing this? Why am I still trying? If everyone couldn't have bared to live what I lived, then why am I still bearing it? Like, why am I genuinely still trying? Because I'm tired. I don't want to do anything anymore. All I want to do is just lie in bed and scroll those reels where they have, like, the, like, stupid, shitty, you know, free mobile game on one side and then some skit on the other. I don't support stolen content, by the way, but it was your origin story, really? Well, I want a different one, because for some reason my origin story isn't done. You know, I thought, okay, I moved schools, things get better. And they did for a little bit. I had my first group of friends for the first time ever, and that was a big deal for me. But I was struggling with school for the first time. That was hard and a really big reality check. And I struggled with an eating disorder, and I was diagnosed with ADHD and autism for the first time. Because my dad decided that it would be stupid to get me diagnosed when I was younger, which is kind of dumb, because it's like, well, I would have figured it out and, like, learned strategies and shit when I was younger. I wouldn't have to go on meds. I'm not anti-meds, by the way. If they help people, it's fine. And I do take them sometimes, but, like, I'm just saying, I had to go through all those shitty side effects when I was in, like, the 2 most important years of my life, and it sucked. Everything fucking sucks. Like, why try to be a good person anymore? Genuinely. So, I mean, if everyone's selfish, why not just be totally nihilistic? Why not just say, yeah, the world fucking sucks. Why am I trying to be good for anyone? I don't really know how to feel better, but I'm kind of done trying to mend my own problems whilst I'm in the midst of my own problems. Yeah, I thought it would all get better when I moved schools, but it was still hard. And I was like, okay, you know what? Okay, I'll go to college and I'll work really hard and it'll get better then, right? And I did work really hard to get into a good college, and I got into a college in California, and I was really excited about it. And I was convinced for like almost the entire summer that I was going to go there. Like, my dad and I got a US visa in my passport, and I went to all the orientations and even signed up for classes. And then the second the grades came out, they were higher than what anyone expected. So my parents made the switch to a different college in the UK. After getting me all hyped and excited, my dad just changed it. I know it sounds like I'm demonizing him, but honestly, he was the first bully I ever had. Not the girl in year 2, not the girl in year 3, literally just him. And he's been my bully forever. Or he's been my abuser forever, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I don't even trust my own memories anymore, because I can't remember my own childhood properly. If I get memories, it'll be like fragments, or I have to check with my mom if they're actually true. I don't want them all to be true. And it hurts because the people who hurt me aren't really affected as much as, like, they are gonna, if they see me, they won't be as affected as I would be when I see them. Like, they don't run into a bathroom stall and cry. No, they just go, hi, whatever, you're a bitch. I don't know. It's happened before, and I guess nobody cares, right? But I'm just seeking attention, right? Yeah. And it sucks because the people who hurt me get to keep walking around. They get to keep having a future. They get to keep having a life where they're completely unburdened by what they did. Some stupid suburban dad in his, like, cargo shorts or whatever. He had, like, 2 kids and a wife, and why do they still get to have a life, whilst mine is always burdened by all of this? I want my dad to suffer the most, but everyone's like, oh, he's your dad, you shouldn't wish that upon him. Yeah, well, he also shouldn't have abused me, but here I am, right? What are we even doing anymore?